geeks, it's Minx, and I'm going to do the review for the season finale of Agent Carter. I know I'm missing videos for essentially episodes 6 through 9. They actually aired as two 2-hour specials. Unfortunately, I made videos for those, but for some reason I couldn't get them to upload okay on YouTube. The couple of times I tried, they errored out, so I'm going to quickly brush over them in this, but I don't want this going too terribly long, so let's just jump into it. The first 2-hour episode, or, pair of episodes I should say, had Peggy breaking out Dottie from jail and using her kind of as an undercover operative to get a sample of Whitney Frost's blood, aka the zero matter, which is in her system. So that of course went badly. They got the sample, but just things went terribly awry. Jack was, in the mix, ends up re-catching Dottie, who ends up getting turned over to Whitney. In the second part of the episode, they build a containment unit for Wilkes because they discover that he can be solid if he comes in contact with zero matter again, but it only lasts for a limited time, so they build a nice containment unit, which looks interesting. Some heavy shit happens, with Jarvis's wife getting shot and almost dying, which sends, Jarvis on this spiral of revenge, which was interesting to see. I liked the depth in that character development, of which we don't get to see until the next 2-hour special, where they end up, you see Whitney reopening the rift in the middle of the desert. Jarvis ends up shooting her, which of course is no avail because the zero matter ends up healing her. So much character development. Jack seems like he's playing like 3 different sides almost. Of course, his own side being the big winner in everything. He flip-flops so much through these 4 episodes, you're like, oh my god, I don't even know whose side this guy is on, I need to know. Which I thought was really good. We end up, having Peggy pretty much slap Jarvis with the truth of his actions. Jarvis slapping her back with some heated moments, which is always pretty cool to see. Ended pretty good. Ended with some interesting, flair. Namely, the fact that Jack double-crosses Vernon as well as Whitney Frost with the plans to blow them all up. With a gamma cannon, which was a really nifty invention. And it gets foiled when Wilkes decides, fuck this, I'm just going to let the, zero matter explode inside of me because I can't control it anymore. And bleh. So, we were left with a nice cliffhanger going into the final episode, which was really nice. We actually had 2 more episodes than the original season, because the original season was only 8. So this was a great treat. I wish they hadn't have combined some of the episodes. I wish they would have been able to just let it hang out. So the finale. Oh, jeebus. Okay, so we're left with the aftermath of the explosion. We end up finding Wilkes with no more zero matter in him, and the zero matter that had been practically bursting from him ends up going into Whitney Frost, giving her exactly what she wants. She starts this crazy evil genius, scribbling out, equations everywhere with papers all over her walls, while her mob boyfriend tries to take care of her. He gets worried because this is a guy, this lout actually does truly love her and has loved her, like, it seems forever since they first met. In his worry over her well-being, he ends up going to see Howard. And the funny thing is, Howard is actually an old friend of his. It seems like, from the way they were talking, I'm going to assume they either grew up together, or went to school together, something. They know each other from, like, their youth youthful days, and clearly both of them haven't changed much since then. So we've got that. He ends up making a deal with them like, hey, you know, I'm worried about her, I want her back, I want you guys to fix her. So they come up with this grand plan. They go and they steal Whitney's plans for this device that she's building to reopen the rift, and they make adjustments to it, and they make adjustments using x-rays to keep the zero matter contained inside of the rift, and she feels it like a homing beacon due to the zero matter inside of her, and she comes right along like they expect, and they end up blasting her with the gamma beacon thing, and all the zero matter goes back into the rift, and she's freaking the fuck out, and then shit gets bad, because of course the off switch malfunctions. They have to figure out something, so Sousa, playing the hero, ties himself off to a pole and crawls in there to start cranking it down, and it's getting unstable, and there's this huge chance that he's gonna get sucked into the rift, and of course Peggy is like, fuck that, jumps down, grabs the thing, and starts pulling it like, no! And then everyone else lashes onto Peggy, and they're holding her back, and all this whole crazy stuff, and it ends up being Jarvis who saves the day, because he's like, we can use the hover car that you made, to which had been mentioned in passing when they were trying to figure out how to, make this machine in the first place. We can fly the core to the gamma beacon inside and have it detonate in there and it blow up and blah, 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 blah. Pretty much a sci-fi movie trope for when you have to seal some sort of rift. Either someone's got to go in and do it, or you're going to somehow find a way to send some sort of, bomb or something into it to detonate on the other side. It's a common trope, and it still works, and it was actually really neat getting to see a old school car as a hover car. Like, that was actually really cool, and that's one of the things I really, really like about Agent Carter, is the fact that it is a time period piece. It is a time period piece. It is set in the 40s, so you get those beautiful classic cars, but you get that sci-fi spin on them, that whimsical comic book spin that you wouldn't normally get in a piece like this. But they don't rely so heavily on it, in most cases, to make the show successful. It's more of a crime drama. It's largely, in part, a time period crime drama with fantastical comic book / sci-fi elements, and I think that's why I like it so much. So, needless to say, they end up saving Sousa. It's kind of clear, especially like the next day, they're having discussions, and of course Howard hires Wilkes to work on a new project of some sort in Malibu, which is good. Yay, happy ending for him. So that's kind of neat. And the conversation he has with Peggy when she's like, yeah, I'm going back to New York, and da-da-da, and he's like, well, I wish we could have met under different circumstances, da-da-da, and you can tell that she's kind of made the decision she's not going to be with him. Her pull to him is not strong enough to make her want to stay. Which, of course, gave me so much hope, because I wanted a pairing that I've been wanting since last season. And so we get to the point where she's getting ready to leave, and Jarvis comes home with Mrs. Jarvis, and she's like, you were gonna leave without saying goodbye? Like, how rude. And so she's like, oh, I didn't want to bother you guys, and I was actually kind of afraid you didn't want me here. And she gives her a big ol' hug, pretty much going, of course I want you here, stupid. And then Jarvis gets all butthurt because she called a taxi, and the look of appalledness, like how appalled he just looks when she says she called a taxi. He's just like, oh, like, oh my god, it's like she said that, it's like she dropped the F-bomb to Jarvis, it's like, oh my god. And so, Mrs. Jarvis is like, please let him take you. We are not going to hear the end of this. If you don't, please do this. And so she's like, oh, okay. And then he just comes, like, popping out of the fucking room like a fucking daisy. Just like, woo! Like, I'll get your bags! You know, and automatically throws him in, and she's just, like, looking at him like, okay! And he goes and he drops her off at the SSR headquarters, and he goes, are you sure you don't want me to take you to the airport? I'll wait. You should totally... And she's like, no, we got a shit ton of paperwork. I'm gonna ride in with Jack. And it's like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, make sure you wear your coat, because the weather in New York sucks. And, you know, and he's kind of trying to, you know... It's like when one of your good friends comes to visit from out of town, and you don't want them to leave, and you kind of continue on that conversation, hoping to either make them late, or just, you know, I need those few more minutes. And so, there's that. And she's like, no, you know what, my apartment's there, my roommate's there, you know, my job is there, like, all my shit's there, you know, it's where my life is. And he goes... And Jarvis gets really philosophical, and I love this. And I love this about him because he's so good at reading her, and he's one of the few people who can read her perfectly. You know, he really is the sidekick that, you know, he represents the perfect sidekick that every superhero that is known for working as a duo has. Like, it's that connection. And he says, well, sounds like you have plenty of reasons to go. He goes, but maybe you just need one really good reason to stay. And then she just kind of gets this look on her face, kind of like, And then she goes, and then it flashes forward, she's in Sousa's office, they're closing out the case, and he kind of jokingly chastises her, like, you know, that was reckless, and when it's not you, you know, you lose focus, and you let your emotions get in the way, and she just kisses him. Like, she kisses him so hard, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that would make a normal person's face hurt. Like, I've been kissed super hard before, and it's not always pleasant. Like, sometimes it actually does hurt. But man, she just kisses him with, like, all this pent-up, like, 2 seasons worth of passion. You know, it's like, damn! Like, she kisses him so hard, they literally stumble back into his chair, and she's, like, up on his lap and stuff. And then he's like, good point. And then she just, like, gets this big grin on her face and starts kissing him again. I'm like, damn! They look like they're gonna do it in the office! Like, holy hell, his freaking blinds aren't even fully closed! They need to fix that. So I'm just, like, sitting here with a shit-eating grin on my face, because I'm like, yes! They did it! They're finally together! I'm so excited! And then, we switch to Jack. Now, the thing with Jack this season, they did deepen his character, and he is a lot more complex. But they did it in the same way they did last season, like, where he was pretty much an asshole. This season, it was just, he was an asshole who kept flip-flopping, and he wasn't, you could tell he didn't know who to believe, and it's like, you already know what kind of person Peggy is. Why are you letting this dickhole, you know, Vernon, lead you around? It's like, we know you're ambitious, but you still have morals and ideals. You know, and you're doing shit that you even tell him you feel is not right. And you're letting him pull you around like that. It's just, it made no sense to me. But in the end, he came out alright, and even Peggy was like, look, I totally was going to shoot you, but I know deep down you're a good guy. You're a good guy. You are one of the good guys. So we're left with him, like, talking on the phone, going, oh, okay, so she's taking more, you know, vacation, alright, fine. I guess I'm going back alone, screw this city, no good pizza, blah, 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 which is, you know, common New York joke. And then, he answers the door, and he gets fucking shot by some no-faced person. You don't get to see their face, he fucking drops down. The only thing they take from him is that redacted, file, which is most likely fake, about Peggy. Somebody was covering their tracks, and he's just laying there, probably dying. Which is huge cliffhanger, which obviously will set the pace for if Peggy ends up, you know, staying, obviously she's probably going to stay in LA with Sousa, so they're probably going to have to, you know, investigate why Jack was just fucking killed, or shot, or whatever, because, I mean, what the hell. So, where do I think this leaves us for, the next season, if we do get a next season, because I haven't heard whether or not they've confirmed that yet or not. They have it set up perfectly for a continued season. I think what it's going to lead us to, we're going to see further into Sousa and Peggy's relationship. I do think Sousa's going to end up being the guy she ultimately marries, because when Cap came back and spoke to her in the movies, when he visited her, she had gotten married. So I think he is the guy that she's going to get married to. That is unless they kill him off for some reason, which would suck because he's good. I like him. He's a good character. I feel like she might end up actually taking over SSR. Like, because somebody's obviously going to have to run the New York office, so either Sousa's going to have to go back to the New York office, or somebody else is going to have to take over, and I feel like this is how Peggy Carter, this is how she's going to start moving toward being in charge of the SSR, and that soonish becoming part of S.H.I.E.L.D., or helping form S.H.I.E.L.D. Because Vernon actually kind of hinted at that in earlier episodes in the season, that the war is over. They're not going to need SSR as it is right now. Like that. They're hinting at that already. The SSR is starting to go, you know, the bad route, the route where it's out the door. It's going to have to be reshuffled, restructured, and in order to be relevant. It's lost its relevancy. So I think this is how we're going to start shifting toward S.H.I.E.L.D. So we'll actually, I do think through the Agent Carter series, we are going to see the birth of S.H.I.E.L.D. The S.H.I.E.L.D., or at least the predecessor, because SSR is the predecessor to the S.H.I.E.L.D. that we know now. With that said, the finale, I'm going to give probably a B+. I thought it was really good. There are parts that were a little bit predictable. Line of the episode goes to Jarvis when he asks her, "Have you tried tacos?" When he's trying to pretty much kind of loosely, subtly convince her to stay. I feel like episode 9, so the second, so episode 9, A Little Song and Dance, I feel like that, no, I feel like the end of Monsters, when Anna Jarvis gets shot, I feel like that was a huge, I feel like that was a bigger, cliffhanger than, Jack getting killed, or shot. We don't know if he's dead, he's shot. I feel like that was a bigger cliffhanger, because you're just like, oh my god, like, that's Jarvis's wife, like, she's such a sweetheart. The explosion at the end of A Little Song and Dance, so episode 9, from, you didn't know if Wilkes was going to be alive, you know, you kind of figure that, Whitney would probably be alive, but you don't know if Wilkes is going to be alive, you don't know if Vernon's dead or not. So you got that. And actually, I don't know if she managed to finish killing Vernon. There's a chance Vernon could have been the one that shot Jack. So we'll have to check that out next season, hopefully. So I feel like the cliffhanger ending wasn't as strong as the other two. But other than that, all around good episode. I am looking forward to season 3. Hopefully they'll confirm it soon. If you like this review, please click that little red box down there that says subscribe. That helps me out a lot. Lets me know that you actually like watching these reviews. Give a thumbs up. Comment. I respond to all comments in my videos. Please feel free. I love discussing my favorite shows. I'm also going to be doing, Once Upon a Time will be returning soon, so I'm going to be doing a, oh my god, this is what we know about the return of the season, and what do you want to see video, coming up shortly, probably in the next day or two. Yeah. Later, geeks.